think the G20 are an interesting forum because they unite not only engaged US delegation here, but of course it remains. I think CBAM, if you look at it, what is it for the European Union? It's a measure to prevent carbon leakage. So it's a measure to prevent that the European Union makes somebody else's emissions problem bigger than it is already. And of course, if I look at it, my ideal CBAM is one where we manage the world together to move ahead, and that because sometimes it's looked at as I said, as a protectionist measure. That's not, that's what you said, just that's not what it's either intended to be nor should be nor anything else. It's a measure to avoid that carbon leakage to other continents makes somebody else's problem bigger.
Decision would have a number, and maybe it's voluntary, the word voluntary. Then do that. I mean, this is unilateral coercive measures that really cut across. They really distort trade, and it's high time we dealt with them, because to us they're a red line. Countries are suffering, and really we don't buy an argument that this does not belong in this process. It belongs here because it's connected to our work on mitigation, our work on adaptation. It affects developing countries very much. It has to be on the table.
Not to expect numbers in the presidency texts at midnight. Are you
breaking it down? You don't start breaking down a number you don't have.
What do you want?
We want them cancelled, really. I mean, we don't think really they are new, first of all. They are like, boom. They are surprised they came in. They were not there in the past. And we think they want to redefine, the way we understand the Paris Agreement. And they are new. You cannot be introducing new concepts at this late stage.
But your number and it is strong. So I think that's perhaps the most.
Off the record now, we're just talking.
Shall I just look at it? Negotiating there, obviously it's a big tax, as you know, Brazil. I think the point was really made that this is a very important topic, because when it comes to climate change, some of those unilateral measures can help one country to achieve their goals, but if the other countries are going to be negatively impacted by that measure, won't help the planet. And we needed to really look what the impact of those unilateral measures are. I think they heard us. That's important. Obviously, they delayed, and hopefully we'll now go into the detailed conversations when it's implemented that will achieve the goals that was set up to achieve, which is Brazil was the first country, President Lula, Ministra Marina, to say we want zero deforestation in 2030. So we don't need a law in Europe to tell us that. We came first and said that, so let us work together to achieve that common goal, rather than using just unilateral measures that may not achieve that goal. So
can survive US exit.
We passed through that already, so it's not the first time. I mean, we already suggest this topic at COP29. As you mentioned, that was not agreed because there are other topics. And I think we'll try it again in COP30. But the important thing is that not only UNFCCC is not the only place to discuss unilateral measures. We have the WTO that we have as a forum. Obviously, there's the G20. What I think the basic saying is that this is an important topic for us. We wanted to discuss in all those different forums, as well as the UNFCCC, and if we have the opportunity at the next COP, that we'll do so.
think that the focus here really needs to be on driving forward and accelerating the transformation to keep in line the 1.5 goal and the other goals of the Paris Agreement. European Union measures that have been taken, like the carbon border adjustment mechanism, are in line with getting emissions down and not having leakage of emissions to other parts of the world. There are places here in the response measures and others where one can have that conversation, but we think the key is to be really creating the incentives for other countries to put forward those types of measures to move forward on implementation.